Hi, everybody. It's Tay. Welcome back to the PSW podcast. I'm here today with CEO of OPSWA and CANSWA, Miranda Ferrier. Today, we're here to basically have a little breakdown conversation about professionalism, what it looks like in the field, maybe some current issues that we're having within our profession in the field. And we're really trying to address the issues, but also encourage us all to come together as a community now. And we really need to come together now more than ever. And as Miranda and I just spoke about, there's been a mass exodus of PSWs, and we want to kind of talk about that a little bit. So thank you for being here, Miranda. Again, excited to talk about these things with you. You and I get going, and we could be in a meeting for 2 hours. So let's see how this goes.
It happened. It happened.
Yeah, for sure. So like we were talking about beforehand, you and I, we've seen, I guess we'll dive into the more nitty gritty negative stuff to start. We'll maybe try and end with the more positive, but professionalism within our PSW field. What does that look like to you personally?
Well, as a PSW, and I'm going to apologize for my voice beforehand because I have a bit of a bout of laryngitis, but we're going to get through this. I think professionalism to me is a PSW who's in it for the right reasons, who knows how to, dress professionally. Yes, and I say that even about scrubs. Knows, to put their hair up when performing personal care. Knows, the basics of what is a professional PSW. And what we're seeing nowadays is less emphasis on that professionalism. And what PSWs are not realizing is that with the regulation of PSWs that is incoming for December of this year, that professionalism is going to be expected moving forward. When you think of a nurse, you think of how a nurse dresses, how a nurse acts. They have to follow code of conduct, code of ethics. They have to abide by, certain things. That is also, social media, how you portray yourself on social media. That is also about how you conduct yourself in conversations with individuals. That is also about, just because it's your personal account and not your work account, and just because you don't have any work friends on your personal account, doesn't mean that you can bash people. It doesn't mean that you can, just be unprofessional. Tay, let's talk about maybe some examples of what unprofessional is. I got lots. I see it all the time. Everyone has a right to their opinion, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has a right to their opinion, and people have a right to have their opinion about the association. So I'll share. If you have concerns about the association, right? Maybe writing something along the lines of, I'm kind of unsure about this. I'd like to learn more. Could you please explain to me, as opposed to, you're a complete fraud. This is absolute BS, blank, blah, blah, blank, 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 swear words. We're going to take the first person far more seriously, and we're going to completely ban the second person.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be professional, it means that you're open to other people's opinions. That's a big part of it.
And I think too, you said the key word for me is social media. And I just spoke with you before, I think this pandemic has really given people the green light to be angry all the time and just air it all out on social media, even if it doesn't make sense. It's like a free for all on taking shots at people. And I really don't know how we got here. It's even coming from people that I wouldn't even imagine. But it's nobody can, like you said, consider someone else's opinion. Everyone is always right. And it's this whole toxic culture that we've built, but it's also kind of leaking into our field as well, where it's dog and cat fights out there. You hear about new grads coming into the field and they're scared, or they're being bullied by other existing staff,
or they're know-it-alls, or the new ones coming in are know-it-alls, and they're trying to tell our veteran PSWs how to do their jobs.
Yeah, there's no collaboration anymore. It's getting really scary out there, I think, and it's hard at times to respect a field that sometimes doesn't even respect themselves. That's like so harsh, but it's true. Like I love my job. I'm very passionate about my job. I love advocating for my job. I think our role is so integral. But then you see someone just coming online swinging at you, never met you before, but oh, I feel like I have the green light to be angry with you, so I'm going to do that. And it's like, this translates into your work as well. This speaks volumes to who you are as a person, and maybe how you give care to people, even, like there's subtle body language, behaviors, like things that are related to how you act in your workplace. And yeah, it's definitely getting to like a scary point. And like you said, just straight up accusations, no questions. It's really getting dark out there. And yeah,
getting harsh. It's getting harsh out there. And the sad thing is that it's not even the majority, it's a minority. But the majority sees it. And you know who else sees it? Families, clients, residents, patients, the public. These are the people that a lot of them really learned what a PSW was through COVID, because PSWs weren't really on the map. We were, but kind of always overshadowed by other healthcare professionals until COVID. Why? Because PSWs, a lot of them, ran into the burning long-term care homes to save the most vulnerable, you being one of them, and you did it because you cared. You did it because you love being a PSW, and that is your goal, is to care for those individuals.
Yeah.
But now when the public, and trust me when I say, we hear it at the association where they say, this PSW is bashing people with disabilities on TikTok. This PSW completely wore scantily clothes on her public profile and then hit on my son. Like, let's talk about that for a second. Why does everyone seem to think, and I'm not saying everyone, and I shouldn't say everyone because it's not the masses, right, but those individuals think that that's okay. And then as PSWs who actually, like, and I'm not saying maybe they do care about their jobs, the other ones, but the ones that actually care about their profession, the ones that have chosen this profession for the right reasons because they want to make a difference. How does that make us feel? I know for a fact, I get raving mad. I'm a PSW graduate of 2006. I want all the new graduates to know that in 2006, when I went into long-term care, it was as bad as it is today. Yeah. So they need to recognize that. I didn't walk into long-term care on my shifts, and I've never worked a fully staffed shift. Never. And I worked in long-term care for 10 years. Never.
It's been
so, and so a lot of these new graduates or PSWs are like, oh, they don't know how it is now. Now it's so bad. It's so bad. I got to leave the field. And then they leave the field, and then they come back, and then they say, I've left the field because, and I'm sure a lot of them have really good reasons for this. I'm sure they do. Okay. But the ones that come back and say, I left the field because they're not going to make any changes. I'll only come back if they make the changes. And then they're encouraging their fellow PSWs to leave the field to make changes. You will not see any change in the PSW field if you guys continue to leave the PSW field, because then the employers win.
Yeah, we were talking about
that. Yeah.
It was like that brain clicking moment for me too. I was like, I'm not saying everybody, but I think a lot of people who are profiting off of this industry would love for the PSW to become extinct, because then we can just hire, and I'm not bashing care aides or anything like that, but we can hire care aides. We can educate them with education that's basically piggybacking off of the PSW, and then we can pay them even less than a PSW wage and generate even more profits. And I'm seeing it all over the place. We're charging people almost comparable hourly wages for caregivers versus PSWs. So it would be nothing to just cross out the PSW, still make more profit, less dollars to spend on the PSW. Like, I didn't realize myself until a little while ago that this is the gateway for them if we leave. or if
Yeah.
we back down, or if we stop advocating. And like you said, I know people have some very legitimate reasons for leaving, and I get that too. But again, like, we're coming out of COVID. We've all seen it now. The public's looking at the PSW profession more and more. They're understanding our scope more and more, our job titles. And it's gaining traction here. And people are really realizing how important we are to the system and how much we hold up the system. And so this is why, you know, like, the association, you and me, we're on there advocating for the profession because it moves things forward. We're watching it happen. We're watching it unfold right now. But we're also seeing a small group of people that are like, why don't you just leave? Or, you know, like, why are you even doing this anyways? Why are we even educating the public on this? Why are we, you know,
Bothering. Yeah.
why are we bothering? Why are you going to go and talk about the profession? It's like, if you talk about the profession, it creates public awareness for the profession. It generates maybe some recruitment for the profession for people who had no idea what the profession even is. Because up until recently, most people didn't. Even now, I can call the nurse, or what is a PSW? And it's like, this is why we need to promote the field so people understand and we get that respect back for the field. And I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here too, but just for the sake of our audience, and trying to like connect the dots for everybody as well, that, you know, we're promoting, we're advertising, we're advocating for this field because it is moving things forward. And because without the PSW, a lot of things could become very scary. It'd be very scary for vulnerable people to be taken care of by people who are educated on the fly. And we've seen that happen already. And we know that that's scary. So we can't become extinct. We can't continue to divide ourselves like we are at the rate that we are. And it's crazy. It's like everybody, or not everybody, but so many people, green light to be angry, bash, leave the field. And it's not doing anything productive for for our job that we love so much, right?
We need to see more positive, and that's our goal at OPSWA, right? As you know, you know, more positive, more, you know, being a PSW isn't an easy job, and that's something that I oh gosh, do I ever make a point to say all the time. And it really ticks me off when, you know, people say, well, it's simple. It's not simple. It is one of the hardest jobs in healthcare. It really is, but it is also one of the most fulfilling and one of the most important. I remember years ago, I had a PSW call me. She was so upset, so upset. And she said, you know, she got in a fight with her manager at work. And this manager said, you know what? PSWs are nothing but the bottom of the totem pole. Okay.
Nice.
And something went off in my brain though, like ding, you know, and I went, wait a minute, we are the bottom of the totem pole. And she goes, what? And I said, no, think about it. We are the bottom of the totem pole. If you take us away, what happens to that totem pole? It falls. We are the foundation of healthcare. We are. We do almost all of the bedside nursing care across Canada. Right? Nurses, we were introduced so that nurses could go and do their jobs, you know, so that they didn't have to worry about the bedside care. That's why the PSW was created. It is a vital, vital, vital role. But the PSWs need to remember that. And they also have to remember that it's not always tied to money. I get, we are all about a living wage at the association. We want every PSW to have a living wage. Yeah. Everybody should have that. And it's a fight. Some of it is. And not to call out some PSWs, but I'm gonna for a second. Because, you know, if you're working at a job and you're making 16, 17 bucks an hour, and you come to us and you're asking, why didn't you get the $3 wage enhancement? I can explain that again if need be. Or, you know, we need to make more money at my job. And I tell you, or one of my staff tells you or suggests, why don't you go look for another job somewhere else? There's a lot of jobs out there right now, guys. Tons of jobs out there for PSWs where you can make a killing at these jobs. 24, 27 bucks an hour as a PSW. Yeah. And they turn around and say, no, I can't leave. I get that we love our residents. I get that we love our clients. I get it. But if you're not willing to leave and go to a new job, then you might want to stop talking about how you don't like your job. Because I could see it 5 years ago, because there was real competition for the, the higher paid jobs.
Yeah.
But now there's not. You're a PSW, snapped up. And if you're having issues getting a job, come talk to us, because we can probably help you find one. But I don't know why you'd have issues finding a job right now. Honestly, there's so many PSW jobs. But I mean, we got to think a little bit logically here, right? We got to think a little bit realistically here. And so that's, I called them out. I did it. It happened. I said it because it's like, guys, at the end of the day, a PSW is a PSW. We're just that, a PSW. And I don't mean just a PSW. We are just that, a PSW. And we should be proud. I'm proud. I haven't been in the field in 10 years, but I am damn proud to still be a personal support worker.
I am too.
Yeah, because not anybody can do our jobs. Not just anybody can do our jobs. Frankly, I don't even know if I could do my job anymore. My gait reflex is back. I don't know if I could. I don't, right? But I'm proud to say I'm a PSW. And the rest and whoever's listening, you should be proud.
Definitely.
And we're also not nurses. So be proud to say I'm a PSW. And then explain what a PSW is.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to see, hopefully in the next few months, they're going to start seeing some real provincial advertising on I am a PSW, this is what a PSW is. The more the public knows, the better, I think, retention and recruitment. We need to recruit. We need PSWs super bad. Just in long-term care alone, they need 24,000 PSWs.
Yeah. And I think too, to just go off of that as well, because for me, I understand why there's hesitancy around it. And I get that. And, a lot of us are concerned about, things like patient ratios or like the improvements in the field that we want to see. And I think a big thing that I've learned through many conversations is that we need PSWs in order to make these changes at this point. And we're losing so many that I've heard it's not even possible to create patient ratios because we don't have enough staff to pick from to actually put that into motion. So just again, for people who are listening as well, because I know too, it's like, well, why would I want to join? Like, we have all this stuff that's, it's a hard job and all this stuff is needing to be fixed. And it's like, yes, but we also need staff so that we can move forward and fix these things, because our profession is now getting more attention and more recognition because of the education that's been put out there because of the pandemic. All these things connect. So I get it. I get the frustrations. But again, we need staff to essentially start rebuilding this back from the ground up and making things good and proper. And like money is a big deal as well. But again, in order to maybe get a standardized wage or, even start to work on things like this, we need staff. We also need respect and recognition for the field so that employers don't feel like they can just kind of move us around and we're at their leisure and they can pay us pennies, like all of this stuff. So it is all really connected. And relating this back to social media, I wish a few more people would just sit back and realize that, or ask questions before coming for your throat. It's intense.
And they do. Oh yeah. And also do your homework on information online as well. You know what I mean? Like, do your homework. There's a lot of fake news out there. The association's always open. You want answers to your questions, happy to answer any questions you guys have. Not a problem, but I think you're right, Tay. I mean, everyone wins if we divide. And for many, many years, that's been the case. It was the case before COVID. I mean, I've been CEO of OPSWA since 2010. June 10th this year is our 13th anniversary. And from where we were in 2010 to where we are now, I mean, huge difference, massive difference. We represent, over 50,000 personal support workers and healthcare professionals across Ontario. We're federal as well. We got regulation here in Ontario. You know, like the fight is never ending, and it's also not very quick. But they've always, one of my pet peeves has always been when they say, well, it's long-term care PSWs, the home care PSWs, the hospital PSWs. We're all PSWs. Why are you putting titles in front? That actually creates a divide. It really, really does. It creates a divide for many people. One of the things that I always see is that when we post stuff and about a certain field, which a lot of times we have to, especially if it's coming down from the government, right? Yes. Then someone will say, well, what about retirement home? Well, what about home care? Well, what about, I get it. We all get it. And a lot of, but like going back to what I said earlier, is if you're not making enough money where you are, there's a lot of jobs out there in other places. And I'm not trying to steal, you know, one from one place to put them in another place. I'm thinking about a living wage for this PSW, you know, for the PSWs that don't have that. But that creates divide as well. And we try our best as an association to bring everybody together, as you know, Tay, and to talk about every issue that's out there. It's hard to do that, but we do try, because at the end of the day, we are all PSWs. The association represents every PSW, regardless of where you work. We're not a union.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, it's specific. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, OPSWA only represents long-term care PSWs. We don't. We represent every PSW, like no matter where you work. Our voice is your voice at Queen's Park. So I hope that explains a bit to some people too, but yeah. And so we haven't forgotten about the home care PSWs. We haven't forgotten about the retirement home PSWs, group home PSWs, hospital PSWs, school board PSWs. We haven't forgotten about any of our PSWs. Yeah. But sometimes, many times, yes, we have to focus on a specific job place. That's how it works.
Yeah. I've had that too. I've had posts where I've been, you know, a part of things that maybe are for long-term care PSWs. It doesn't mean that I don't care about the rest of the PSWs, you know. That's just where it was involved at the time. And I've had people get upset, and I'm like, I am not canceling out PSWs in general. And I think, again, we need to realize that, like, just because one profession or one little chunk of our profession has the spotlight doesn't mean we're like, yep, the rest of you have it easy. You don't have problems, because we're not even addressing it. It's not like that. No. And again, the green light to be angry is just flashing lately, and it's creating that divide, like you said. But again, that is what people who are profiting off of us are banking on. And many times before, I know we've been labeled as like the lesser educated healthcare professional or healthcare worker, and people bank on us just being, for lack of a better word, really dumb and very easily manipulated. Yep. And you can just generate a rumor online to try and divide us, and it will take, for some people, that's all it takes, is a little something on the keyboard to divide us even more. And then people can break us apart. Eventually we can all leave the field. Eventually we become extinct. And then people up top get to profit off of us, or people get to advocate for us, which I've noticed as well, which maybe is a pet peeve that I'm going off on a crazy tangent on, but I'm going to say it. I know it's going to resonate with people. I'm going to say it. People advocating for us or monopolizing conversations about us, PSWs, who are not working PSWs, and that I don't think is very fair in some cases.
Or they're not PSWs at all.
No. And it's like, yeah, you can work in health. You can understand. Yes, like it's different coming from PSWs. PSWs understand different things about our field that maybe others wouldn't, because we live and breathe bedside care. It's all we do on a constant cycle. So, you know, oh, like this is wearing me down because of this, this, and this, or I need a proper mechanical lift because of this, this, and this, because I do it on repeat and now my back is hurting and now I'm out on WSIB, you know, like these are things that come from PSWs that a lot of the time only PSWs know. So again, people are preying on manipulating us and dividing us so that they can monopolize our conversation. And I just want to keep reiterating the same point, like, please just ask questions, or please just come together. I keep hitting my elbow off my desk, but please keep coming together instead of going apart or just being angry, like I
Yeah.
can't say enough. I don't know.
Well,
Like,
you're totally bang on, Tay. That's exactly what it is. And I mean, I've always said, and what's always been important to me with the association is I am a PSW.
yeah.
I can advocate for my fellow PSWs. I always say, and we've been approached and we've had nurses over the years that try to infiltrate, for lack of a better term, to say that they do a better job advocating because PSWs need a nurse to take care of them. Nurses are very, very important. We love our nurses, but they need to stay in their own lane. They wouldn't appreciate it if a doctor was their advocate. They wouldn't appreciate it if a doctor spoke for them. Trust me, I've seen it happen. They don't like it at all. Right?
Be their own
So,
advocate.
well, just
Yeah.
like, like for the heads of associations or for like spokespeople, right? You can't have a nurse but being the spokesperson for PSWs. You can't have a doctor being the CEO of the nursing association.
Yeah.
You just be, or you can't have an RN speaking for RPNs. You can't have an RPN speaking for PSWs. You just can't, because yes, we all play very vital roles. Yes, we are all part of the same interdisciplinary healthcare team, but we all have specific roles in that team.
Yeah. And
And
I
we're
think
all different characters as well.
yeah. And this doesn't mean that we can't be allies. That's the thing too. I feel like there's this underlying competition and it's like, we're
Why?
still allies. Like I love and respect the nurses, love and respect the doctors.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like everybody has people that speak for them that are working in their field. So why can't we? And again, I think this is from years of toxic culture and suppression on the field. And again, we're lesser educated. We can be told what to do and we'll just do it. And it's taking advantage of our good nature in some aspects as well. And it's like, no, integral part of the field. Think of the PSWs that hold together long-term care essentially, because we're the ones performing all the bedside care and long-term care or home care, like all of these things, like we're so important. And now's the time to recognize that and allow people to advocate for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now is the time, like I always say to PSWs is, this association was created as a banner for PSWs to come underneath together to advocate for themselves. That's why this association was created. And a lot of our members do that. A lot of our members advocate for themselves under the OPSWA banner. And it makes me so bloody proud that they do that, because at the end of the day, nobody knows your patients, clients, residents the best. The PSW, that is the core to Ontario healthcare. And yes, everyone else is as essential, because God forbid we don't say that, but yes, everyone else is as essential. Nurses are important, doctors are important, but there's been some confusion, especially through COVID and before COVID. What is a nurse? What is a PSW? And I think to, give clout to the nurses as well, and recognition to them, we need to separate ourselves from the nurses, so that there's that really kind of obvious divide of working together or allies or friendship, but the divide of what they do and what we do and why they're important and why we're important. So that's, that's what people are going to be seeing across the province as well, is that real specific, I am a PSW, things are coming out soon. So I hope this wasn't like all over the place, but
I find out you and I get all over the place, but it's a good discussion. And that's why it's nice to kind of break out the Zoom and record it and have people see it, because there's things that I'm learning as someone who has been a bedside PSW for 7 years. Now I'm coming into this position and I'm learning new things as well. And you've been able to kind of blow these doors open for me, where I'm like, oh gosh, like I had no idea that this was happening, or, that this was a rumor, or like how this was connected. So it's nice to just have like these conversations, like very unstructured conversations that maybe other people can get the same breakthroughs that I got just by listening.
I hope so. I hope so. 'Cause I find that, you know, a lot of times there's not a lot of truthful conversation, and there's not a lot of just saying it like it is. I love personal support workers. I love nurses. I love doctors. I love everyone who works in the healthcare teams. I love the clients. I love the residents. I love everyone. But I really, really love my PSWs. So that's, you know, like, that's who I protect every day. That's who I protect. And that's who I advocate for. Just like you, Tay, every single day. I dream in PSW, legit dream in PSW. You know, so does Ian, our director of operations. It's a constant for us, because yes, we've won some big battles, guys, and this is the time, you know, for us to come together. We've won some huge battles, you know, through COVID. And yeah, these battles are with the government, and we won them, and we should be celebrating that fact. It shouldn't be an automatic negative reaction to everything. I think the future is extremely bright for PSWs. I mean, you know, we're introducing specializations. There's, you know, with regulation does come pay hikes in areas. You know, we're not going to be able to be taken advantage of, because employers are going to have to meet certain criteria as well. They're going to have to, you know, follow things, because there's going to be a set regulations in place for the PSW. It's kind of like OPSWA members right now, right? So like, our members follow a scope of practice. But you know, what'd you do?
1 second. Okay, sorry about that, everybody.
Oh my God. So our director of operations, for those that are listening, decided to pop onto Zoom and wave at us and then leave. So he totally, yeah. Yeah.
He heard his name. You mentioned director of operations also dreams in PSW, and he was like, yes.
Apparently he had, and he's in Oshawa, like nowhere close to me. So hilarious. Oh my
That was
gosh.
funny. You were on like a good speech too, and he just,
I don't even remember what the hell we were talking about now. But anyways, I think that was our
the culture.
clue to end it. Clue to
Yeah.
end it, I think.
Yeah, probably. But again, like, just the culture, we need to move forward a little bit better. And I don't know. I know everybody's angry, and I get the anger, but again, sometimes I don't get the anger if it's a little unjustified at times. Or, you know, I find too, like, if there's a solution for one thing, someone else is mad about another, and it's like you can't fix it all at once. You know, we have to try piece by piece, unfortunately. It would be nice to just fix everything at once.
Yeah,
I'd
it's,
love
you
to
know
do
what,
that.
I wish we could. I mean,
Me
but it
too.
took us, you know, and in order to make these changes, yes, I have to work with government.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. And it doesn't, and if with the better along we get with government, the better off UPSWs are going to be. And that's just the truth of it. If we don't get along with the government, they don't want to work with us. And the former government was like that. They had no interest in working with us. This government has put us front and center, and people can call me whatever they want. They can say I'm Ford's bestie and I kiss his butt, and he gives me all this money and all that. And you know what? That's not the case at all. That's, yes, okay, the association has been awarded money, but all that money is already spoken for, because it's going to be for that huge promotion across the province on PSWs. It's going to be hiring personal support workers to go out there and actually advocate and to promote and to educate. It's going to be a very exciting year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's because of that government that we are now cemented as the association for PSWs in Ontario. Fantastic. No more confusion. We're it. So,
Yeah.
you know, that is another real positive that's coming. Oh my gosh, there's so many positive things that are incoming. Like I said before, Ian popped on, is, you know, we're doing specializations. PSWs can specialize in things. That's like the new thing, the micro credentialing. You know, it's, the sky's the limit for the PSW. And that's what I love so much about the profession, is that you can work with anyone, any age.
Yeah. Prenatal
Doesn't
PSW.
matter. Yep.
So cool. Yeah, it's so neat. I really would like to see it move forward in this direction now, because again, before it was like, no, you can't specialize. No, you can't do this. No, shush, shush, don't talk. Don't talk for your profession. And now it's like, no, like, hold on a second. We can specialize. Nurses got to specialize. Why can't we pick a field that we like best with someone to help that we resonate better with? I don't know. Like these things, they're starting to come together. And I really hope that, with our funding and stuff, we can start to create some sort of inclusivity and community and really start to move this forward in a better light.
A positive light, in a
A
positive.
positive light. Absolutely. And like, I get it. I get the field's been hard. I myself have struggled in the field personally. It's hard some days. Some days you want to leave, the same thing. Some days you're like, why am I here? But it's because you love your job so much. And you're like, oh, like, can I see myself doing something else right now? Like, no, I can't. I love it.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
It is great. Among all the rough, it's really good. So yeah, just hopefully this connected some dots for our listeners. And again, would love to move forward together and advocate for this profession like we should be, and moving forward like we should be, and being respected like we should be. So yeah, do you have anything else to leave us with, or before Ian pops on again? Or?
Before Ian pops on again? No, you know what? I think this was refreshing, and I think it's something that a lot of PSWs are going to need to hear and to understand, and to know that there's no stalemate. We're not stuck. The association and our profession is booming, and the opportunities are endless right now. And I think if you want to move your career forward, if you want to become a PSW, now's the time. Like, honestly, now is the time. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen moving forward with the PSW, but I'm sure we will share it on the PSW podcast. So
I hope so. I love these conversations. Like you said, refreshing, very nice. It's nice to hear when you feel stuck sometimes in your field, to have this sort of a chat. So I know I like it too. Whenever I'm feeling a little, it's good. It's good to hear the facts again and be like, okay, right, yeah, we're good. So thank you for everything again, for talking with me. And I hope our viewers enjoyed this one today. Let me know if you want to hear any more, anything that you want specifically covered, maybe by Miranda. We're here for it. She's here for it.
Absolutely.
Let's get it. So let me know. Hope everybody has a great day, a great shift if you're on shift and you're listening on your lunch. But yeah, thank you all so much, and see you on the next podcast.